From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, November the 11th, 2021. New York Governor Kathy Hochul gave her first public address to the New York Jewish community last night. Hochul, who took over as governor of the state this past August, spoke at a virtual event held by the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York with its executive vice president and CEO, Gideon Taylor. Hochul spoke of the rise in hate crimes in New York, including those targeting the Jewish community, vowing to fight anti-Semitism and hate. Hochul noted how she answered one young boy who expressed concern and fear to her over wearing his kippah.
I visited a number of yeshivas recently, and this is at a time when there were more attacks going on in the streets and people were feeling anxious. A young boy said to me, I was told I shouldn't wear my yarmulke because that means I'm going to be a target, so someone could attack me. What do you think I should do? And I said, young man, you wear that proudly. This is a sign of the strength and the resilience that is part of your DNA.
Hochul also spoke about her support for Israel and responded to her fellow Democrats in Congress that have challenged that support for Israel.
As a member of Congress a decade ago, I stood firm with Israel when they were under assault. And even more recently, as a Democrat now, I reject the individuals in my party who are making this an issue and questioning our commitment to Israel. I said this again on a stage, I think last night or the night before, that no one will ever question our commitment to Israel.
Hochul also spoke of increased partnerships with Israel in the fields of innovation, research and development, and trade, saying she hopes to lead a trade mission to Israel soon. Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and the United States are taking part in a 5-day joint naval exercise in the Red Sea, led by NAVCENT, the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet. Commander Vice Admiral Brad Cooper said of the exercise, maritime collaboration helps safeguard freedom of navigation and the free flow of trade, which are essential to regional security and stability. Some have said the joint exercise could be meant as a message to Iran, referring to a number of Israeli-owned vessels that are believed to have been targeted by the Islamic Republic of late. The joint drill, by the way, also marks the first public military cooperation between Israel and Bahrain, with whom it normalized ties under the Abraham Accords just over 1 year ago. U.S. Special Envoy to Iran Robert Malley set off for the region today, heading to Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. Part of a 10-day visit whose focus, he tweeted, will be on regional issues and negotiations over a mutual return to the JCPOA, the Iran deal. A State Department press release said that Malley will coordinate our approaches on a broad range of concerns with Iran, including its destabilizing activities in the region. The American Jewish Committee and Hillel International announced a 2-day summit in partnership with the American Council on Education to address the rise in anti-Semitism on college campuses. The University President's Summit will bring leaders of universities and colleges from across the country together to look at how to respond to anti-Semitism and to all forms of discrimination and harassment on campus, while also respecting academic freedom and free speech. President and CEO of Hillel, Adam Lehman, said university presidents have a critical role to play in improving the campus climate for Jewish students and ensuring all students can live and study in environments free of hate and intolerance. This summit, he said, will give university administrators the tools and resources they need to speak out against anti-Semitism and take specific steps to make our campuses safer. The summit is scheduled for February of next year in New York City and will be hosted by New York University President Andrew Hamilton. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, November the 11th at 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study. At 7:35, Ellie Cohanim speaks with Dr. Rashid Ali Al Nuaimi, one of the brokers of the Abraham Accords between his country, the UAE, and Israel. At 8, author and journalist Liel Liebovitz speaks with Jonathan Tobin about anti-Semitism, the current disconnect between Israelis and Americans, the impact of Jewish artists like Stan Lee and Leonard Cohen, and more. At 9, Mark Golub speaks with Deborah Lipstadt on L'chaim. At 10:30, it's the JBS original series From Date to Mate. And coming up next, it's Jewish Triumph, a World War II story. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, November the 11th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.